Go. Wide out. Hey. Wide out. Hey, check that bump, check that glute. Wide out. Hey.
Well, good evening, good people. Welcome to the Power Hour show, and it is the show for runners. It's the show about running. We change, we do have different subjects every Wednesday or Sunday night, and it's my pleasure this evening to welcome Eden Davis to the show. Welcome, Eden.
Hey Stan, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, mate, here. Now, why I invited Eden to come to the show, it's really to have a look inside in one of the very difficult areas of track and field, and that is the transition from club athletics, home club athletics, into the university. Now, granted, not every university in the UK has got a sports program per se, you know, in the way that you have that scholarship system within the United States, as it were, and a lot of athletes, a lot of talent is lost within that bridge, that period, that phase there. When they leave home, their home track, and they've been used to all manner of routines and guidance from parents and coaches and officials at the local club, and they have to go far away off because, yeah, rightfully so, that's a university where they've decided they want to go and pursue their academic career. But they also have this talent and they would like to pursue and continue with the track and field. Now, within that, there are lots of bumpy areas and very wide corners, if I may call them that. And a lot of talent, tends to get lost in the process. So Eden is an athlete that I thought would be able to give us some insight on how he has negotiated that, because that's what he has done. He has been able to negotiate leaving club home athletics and going into university setup. Welcome, and we're looking forward to hearing all that from you, Eden. But before we get there, let's just find out, who is Eden Davis? How did it all start?
So I started out in athletics when I was about 15, and it really did start with school stuff. My teacher in PE thought I had a lot of potential, and the great thing about teachers is that if they see potential, they'll pursue it, and they're really helpful. And my PE teacher, thankfully, he saw enough potential in me. He recommended me to a club. I kind of went from club to club at the start, but then when my mum ended up kind of not taking me, he ended up taking me himself for the first time to a new club. So he introduced me to my coach and everything, and it all kicked off from there. So he took me down and I went to the training sessions, really enjoyed it. I loved the atmosphere around the club, and from there I've just moved forward.
It is, you point out something there that's really key, the role that PE teachers play in identifying the talent, but more importantly, you've used the term there, she was almost insistent in ensuring that you yourself became aware of the talent that you have got. And when you could not be taken to the club, the PE teacher, were in a place where they were willing to take you to a club just to ensure that they hand you over to, to the club system. I've had other athletes come here and share exactly the same point there, the role of teachers. Would you like just to share how it is? What relationship did you have yourself with your PE teacher, and how much athletics was going on in your school anyway for you to believe what the teacher was saying? You must go and join a club.
I think that from a very young age, I was always like the quickest in my year, in like year 6 or 5, whatever it was. But I never really thought something of it myself. But then once I went to secondary school, I got on well with my PE teachers. He's a great guy. I still keep in contact with him every so often now. But I think when you show such passion for sports at such a young age at school, that if your teacher sees something, then they know that you'll be good at it and you'll enjoy it. So I think that because I was so comfortable and so confident in his ability as well as my teacher, I thought it was definitely something to go for. And running was something I always enjoyed.
Yeah. Now, that's really, really useful to hear that, and very kind of you to have generous words, about where it all started and the people that were involved at that very early stage.
Yeah, at this stage of it, I think that everything that I've done so far, I have to be thankful for him, because he got me into the sport into the first place.
Yeah. Okay. Now, talk to me about the transition from your school into the club. What was it like for you? Whoops. School athletics is a certain time of the year, a certain term of the year. And here you are, and you train during PE lessons, which are, during the day. Club situation environment is different. You're training at night, you're training more than once, you're training maybe twice a week.
Yeah.
So how was the transition for you?
I think that going from school and doing PE, because you only ever really do athletics sort of in the summer. Other than that, you're doing things like football, hockey, rugby. But then you're always looking forward to athletics in the summer. So to take that on from school into throughout the whole year compared to just summer, it's a lot more. But I think with the schedule and everything, then it's very manageable.
Yeah. Now, tell me about your club, the first club you went to. Is it the same club you've always been until you left for university, or did you change clubs? What was the environment there for you?
I've always been with the same club from when I very first started, and I've still carried on with them throughout my university experience. I run the Hearts Phoenix at the moment. To be honest, they're just a very comforting club. Everyone in the club is very inviting. My coach took me in as he would with anyone else, and we all just work hard. And to go from what I was, which was just a school athlete, to come through training once, twice, 3 times a week, it can get very intense. But carrying it on throughout the school year and then into university, it can be very manageable, as I said, with a schedule. And if you organise things properly, then it will come out in a positive way.
Okay, let me just have a look at one of the video clips that you so kindly sent over to me. To see what what time this was. Was this at the trials at the club? And let's see what your recollections are on this one. That's you right there in front, yeah?
I think that was actually in the year of university.
When was that?
I think that was in my first year of university. That video was taken.
Okay.
Yeah, so I studied at university in East London, and Lee Valley's not too far of a track. It's manageable to get to, and training was always good there. But yeah.
So who else was in that lineup there?
So just a couple of people in my training group, like Josh is in there, I think Ben's in there, but it's just a couple of the training group that train with Hearts Phoenix as well. So I still keep in contact with the people from the club.
Okay. Yeah. Well then, let me play another clip here, and let's see what.
This one was actually last week.
Hey?
This one was actually last week, I think.
Was it?
Yeah. So still training at Lee Valley as well.
What's going on in there? What are you and your coach, Kathy Walker, trying to accomplish?
So at the moment, we're just working on building the strength and power in my runs. So I'm carrying a sledge there and just working on technique while I'm running at speed. So trying to get my foot underneath me while I'm running, using my arms, getting my chest up so that I'm tall.
Now, what I notice, you're not just working there with, for your strength and your power. You already alluded to it. You're also working on your technique.
Yeah.
But within that, also, you're working on a phase of a race. It looks to me like you're working through the driving phase and the transition phase of a 100-meter race. Would that be the case?
Yeah. So the start's somewhere that I've kind of lacked a little bit usually. So we're working on getting that speed throughout the start, getting out of the blocks, producing that power into the strides that I'm producing.
You do seem, well, I've seen you in training. You've got very high stride frequency in there. Do you then think that power is a dimension that you could possibly have been lacking in there? Is that what you and Kathy are working on, seeing that you're pulling the sledge in that situation?
Yeah, so I think that although my cadence was good, a lot of power wasn't produced as much, so my stride length wasn't as long as it could be, and to be able to push myself off the floor and project myself forward with each stride is something that I need to work on.
Yeah. No, well done. Yeah, that's great work there. People underestimate just how much work goes through, when they watch elite athletes perform, so efficiently, almost without, they're like machines, but what they don't see is what you've just shown us there, what goes on, away from the competition arena, away from the cameras. The work that you put in, and the attention to biomechanical detail, to be able to the most out of your training. I think that is a wonderful thing, just to hear an athlete speak about that. But then how about transferring that from training into a competition environment? Maybe not a competition environment, but transferring that into onto the track. I've got this clip here, and I'd like to hear what you think about how that one. Let's see you, Cobb. I could dance to that rhythm of your feet there, man. It's so consistent. Yeah. Now tell us, from what you were doing there with the sledge on the grass and transferring it onto the track, how did it feel? And you looking back on it now, what is your view regarding that?
I think that
technically, that is.
Technically, I think that staying composed and remembering what you need to do while you're doing the sledge runs and stuff, or technique runs, it helps a lot when you're applying it when you're, say, not running with the sledge or not running over miniature hurdles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. No, that is, you know, absolutely brilliant. Now, if I may take you back to that very last clip there, in the you drive, what do you think about your drive first? How long was it long enough? Did you pop up early? Did you stay down as long as you needed to be? What's your view from a technical viewpoint? I'm trying to relate it to what you were doing with the sledge out there. I'll just play that again. There you are, down, and hit it, and up we come. Out here, yeah, you're getting into your VMAX phase, as it were.
Yeah, so I think that from doing the sledge runs, it really helps because you're really trying to put that force underneath you, and once the sledge is taken away to produce that force, you feel a lot lighter without the sledge even, and it just makes your running much more flowing.
Yeah. No, well done. Thanks for all those coaching tips there, you know, Eden. Thanks for those coaching tips here. But when we come back, I'm going to give you a water break. When we come back, I'd like us now to zero in on the main topic for tonight, which is the challenges that you face, that many athletes face when they leave their home club and they have to go to university.
Yeah.
You know, what were they like for you, and how did you negotiate that terrain? And you know, what is happening between you and your coach and your club coaches and the university coaches, competitions and all that. When we come back, Eden, that's what we'll be talking.
Go. Wide out. Hey. Wide out. Hey, check that bump, check that glute. Wide out. Hey.
Right, Eden, what would you consider, you know, both as an athlete and as a student, would be some of, you know, within your student circles and athletic circles, what are some of the outstanding challenges that athletes face when they have to go to university and they have to leave the comfort of their home club and all the support systems? What would you say, you know, the top challenges there are?
I think the biggest challenge is probably time management. To schedule your day, because starting off at home, I mean, for me, I don't know what it is for other people. A lot of my meals were cooked for me. I was driven to a lot of places, but you have to take into account when you're at university, travel to places, what you're eating, when you're eating, how you're doing certain things throughout the day, and you just need to plan it so that it runs smoothly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's from almost a personal management. How about from the track and field? situation in terms of training, coaches. You are away from your track. Has the university got a track? You are away from your coaches. Are there coaches at the university? You're away from your training group at the club. Do you find a new training group at the university? You are away from the club's competition structures, and because the university are not competing within the club structures, as it were. So you're competing for the university, and then you're competing for your clubs. What happens there?
So to go from your home club and then possibly change to your university club or somewhere that's local to your university, I think you need a lot of planning within it. It can be a couple of months. You need to find the right coach, or for me, for my situation, I've stayed with the same coach, but you need that communication to make sure that sessions are planned in advance for when you start, so that when you begin university, everything, you can just get straight into it. And I think that if there isn't necessarily a track at your university as well, which was the case for me too, you need to look at where's available and where's closest or where's best for you to train, what kind of people are there. I think that in order to get a good relationship with the club that you move to is very important, because I mean, it will set up your mindset for the rest of your training at university.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned something there that is really important in my coaching philosophy. You know, why did you stay with your coach? You are away in East London. That's your university, right? And your coaches are, well, they're not exactly 600 kilometers away, but they are not in East London.
Yeah. I think that for me, it was the decision that I was confident in my coach, and we talked about it before I went to university and discussed what the options could have been. And at first, one of the options could have been to just change coach completely and start fresh with a new coach. But I think that to stay on course for what I wanted, which is always to succeed in athletics, it's everyone's dream. I think it was just comfortable for us to stay in the same situation that we were in, discussing what days we train, if, say, lectures got in the way or surprise exams got in the way, how we reorganise training.
Yeah, okay. Now, well done for that. Well done for that between you and Kathy for coming up with that arrangement. I'm sure it's a sort of relationship that many other coach-athlete relationships would pick a brain or two from, because like you say, you have certain ambitions with your track and field, and those ambitions did not just start at university. You engendered them along the way, and that vision is a shared vision between you, your parents, and your coach. And so that vision would need to be passed on somehow, and to do that, the coach has still got to be involved in your delivery.
But even if the coach isn't involved necessarily, and you do end up moving on to a different coach, then it's important for you to discuss with your current coach who you move to, because at the end of the day, they're coaching you and they know what would be best for you. So to move to a new group that might not necessarily be good for you, that you've just picked because it's convenient or something, it might not be the best option, but the discussion between you and your coach to progress in the future is definitely important.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that happens when athletes leave home club to go to university is the change of routine. Now, athletes are animals of habit.
Yeah.
They train on Tuesday night, they'll train on Thursday night, they'll compete over the weekend. And, so the body has been synchronized in that manner, as it were. What happens when you get into university setup? Surely it's not the same, is it? Tuesday night, Thursday night, wake on thing, because you've got other challenges before you, i.e. your academic load.
I think that a lot of universities, I think all universities, send out your timetable before you start the year. So I think look through what you would have in the week and then organize training around that, because you've chosen to go to university for a reason. You should turn up to all your lectures, all your exams, seminars. So that should be very important. And then your training can always be scheduled around that, because most of the time people aren't in university at like 8 p.m. So you could start training that sort of time, or the days that you don't have lectures or anything, it would be ideal to train.
Okay. There's something else that you leave behind when you're away to university, when you're away from home club, which is the social capital that you have built over the years with your club mates, the club coaches, club parents, club thing, which carries you through during your time at the home club athletics training. You don't have that in the university, well, at least when you go there for a start in the first year. How do you compensate for that? How do you reconcile that variance for yourself? How did you do it yourself?
Just put yourself out there, to be honest. Meet a lot of the people that take the same course as you.
I think I have, let me see here. Right. Can you hear me, Dave, Eden?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, something is gone off with your mic. Okay, let's do this as we try and sort that one out, shall we?
Can you hear me?
Nope, we still have lost you there. Would you like to just check that again for me?
How about now? Anything?
Okay, let's do this again and see what that is going on.
Go. Wide out. Hey. Wide out. Hey. Take that back. Take that glute. Wide out. Hey.
Are we working now?
Well, you still there? Well. Let's go here.
Can you hear me? How about now? Can you hear me yet? It's not on mute. Are we working yet?
Okay, we're going to try something here because I think Mike Eden has had a technical issue with his mic. So I've just let him out and we'll try and get him back in and see if that works out. But anyway, the story and the crux of the story is about the challenges that athletes face when they leave their hometown club to go to university. And that one is, mostly from a social side, which is what happens with their coaching setup, what happens with the social support that they normally would get from their club, i.e. their parents are close, their friends are at the same club, they've built colleagues, training partners at that club over the years, and then come a certain time in their development, they have to go to university and seemingly go and start to do that all over again, which is build the social capital they need to continue training and find, the technical assistance that they need, i.e. with coaches, find a new coach, or if they should do that, or find a club nearby their university. So that is the discussion, and Eden has been brilliant with that until we had that technical hitch where his mic has gone off. Let me see if I can get him back in, and let's see if that has improved. Hi, Eden.
Sorry about that. Not sure what happened.
That's what happens with live shows, my friend. That's what happens with live shows. We just get on with it and leave it live.
And we'll keep it going.
Before we had that hitch, you were just explaining, I think the last thing you were doing is explaining how you, as an athlete, it's important to continue keeping in touch with your hometown club so that you are able to transfer that, onto your university. How do you build, new partnerships, training partnerships? How do you build? If you're going to go to a different club altogether, which is close to your university, how does that look like? How does it work? How did it work for you?
I think that just putting yourself out there is very good, and just getting on with the people that you'll be training with. So say hi to everyone that's at the club, whether that be the coaches, the athletes themselves, or just volunteers or anything. If you put yourself out there, then you'll get to know people and you'll build relationships in that way. I've met a lot of my good mates through university training, and it's just good to just put yourself out there. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's wonderful. And now let's talk particularly about you and your particular university, University of East London. That's where you are, right?
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. Yeah. What is the setup there for you as a track and field athlete? What support is there for you?
At UEL, there's a good scholarship program that supports the athletes really well. Definitely good to get in touch with them, but the only downside of it is that there isn't actually a track there, and there isn't actually assigned coaches. So you do have to go and find your own coach and where you're going to train and everything. So I spoke to the university at the start, and I said what tracks are near, and they gave me answers. There's Newham nearby. There's the London Olympic Stadium. So they were good places to start, and to go speak to the coaches at Newham was really positive, and to go into training there, it was different, but I think to plan it all in advance, like I said, of what you're going to do, where you're going to train, is really important. So definitely do it before you start your university experience.
Yeah. Well, you do compete as a university club. You do compete in the university championships or university leagues, the BACS league, as they're called, British University Champions.
Yeah.
So So if you haven't got a track at UAL, how do your squad, how do you get along? Where do you train? Do you all guys train at Newham? Do you all train at Lee Valley, or do you have how does it work?
At UEL, it's pretty different to most universities, but everyone kind of has their own coach. They train in their own settings, but everyone comes together for the meetings for bucks or for group meals or anything at the championships, something like that. But I think everyone just gelled really well, and we got on as a team. You have to treat it like a family almost.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. That's interesting. There, very interesting that everyone has got their own coaches and they've got their own setup. You only come when there is, a university's track and field meet or challenge.
Yeah.
For you to be able to play your part and play your role. So where does UAL sit within the BACS league, if I may call it that?
I think usually every year since we've been competing in the BACS League, UEL's just gone up and up and up, and it's been very strong sprint for years. It attracts a lot of athletes, but at the BACS Championships, I think we've already come top 3, whereas we're a small university and we don't have as many athletes. Teams like Loughborough, Brunel, they have a lot more athletes to offer out, so they end up getting more points than us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look at one of these meets that you and your teammates took part in, and you came across the challenges of Brunel and Loughborough University and all these big universities that have got huge squads. Could you talk us through this one when it's played,
Davis,
Brunel and
there we go. Same as last year.
But UEL,
Same as last year.
as you said,
UEL
continuing to dominate. And they take home BACS 4-1 goals.
40.9, told you.
That's so good. We're going to watch it again now.
Davis,
Brunel and
there we go. Same as last
That's
year.
Eden there.
But
Same as
UEL,
last year.
Anchoring
as
the
you
team,
said,
right?
continuing to dominate. And they take home BACS 4-1 goals.
40.9, told you.
BACS Gold. You anchored the team home. Eden.
Good feeling,
was
isn't it?
that like?
That was
Yeah.
in my second year at UEL. That was at the BACS Outdoor Championships. I think that to come up against so many universities and see so many athletes at the championships is a really good experience for any athlete to have. The other teams that were on offer, they were good. They really did challenge us, and we had to fight for it. But I think that as a team, we just gelled so much, and we got on so well that we were just able to get the job done, get through the line.
I heard in the commentary there that the second year in a row. Was that the case? Were you winning this 4x1 the second year in a row?
Yeah, we won the 4x1 for 2017, I think it was as well, and I think the girls might have won it as well the year before, and I think they won it that year too.
Yeah. And what was your winning time there?
In that one, it was 40.91.
Okay. And how does that compare with the national performances, club performances and national times or national squads?
So when I ran for Great Britain, I think the average time that we were running was about 39.8, 39.7, something like that. For university athletes to be running that is pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, tell us more about your representing Great Britain there and the time that you did. What was that? Where was that? What was it? What championship was that?
In 2017, I think it was, around for Great Britain at Mannheim, and I went to Euro Juniors as well. It's very different. It's very, very competitive. Everyone's on it, but at the same time, just like it is at university, everyone's relaxed, everyone gets on. You just want to enjoy your time doing what you love, which is athletics.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what's the journey looking like? Going forward. Oh, before we get there, let's just hear how you coped with the COVID restrictions. You and Kathy, how did you manage that? How did you negotiate that whole restricted, or even in some cases no access to training facilities?
I think it was the same for everyone. A lot of places were shut. A lot of tracks got closed down for the time being, and a lot of the stuff had to be independent at home for training. I personally didn't do any running really at all, apart from a few 20-minute runs outside. But other than that, I got given a few sessions by my coach. Kathy told me to just get on with stuff at home. Home workouts are really important. They really get your core strength going, and it's just something to keep you going as well while everyone was just inside doing nothing.
Yeah, difficult times, but like you say, everyone has been affected the same, and it's how people recover and redeem the lost time and the lost plans. So your plans, you probably have had to change your plans for the season, and what are the plans looking like going forward now for you?
For last season, everything pretty much just got scrapped. Going forward, I think that training's going really well at the moment. I think that if we keep on this course that we're on right now, then I think I'm going to have a good season when competitions do start up again and we finally get going.
Yeah. Well, you've been brilliant, Eden. With your insights and your experiences, and also your wisdom around those experiences, and your kindly heart to want to share it with other athletes who are transitioning from home club to the university. Because, like I said at the top of the show, quite a fair amount of talent does disappear, in that during that phase of their development. So thank you again for doing that for us tonight, and I hope to bring you back another time and hear how that development is going on, and your Great Britain team ambitions, how that is happening. Otherwise, for tonight, I can only wish you the best of your training season, you and Kathy, for your winter training and everything, and how you bridge that with next season. So thanks very much for coming on the show, Eden.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good.